This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Greetings, mortal. That's kind of frightening.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 51 of Lords of the Storm, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true heroes of the storm. I'm your host, Greg Parker, a.k.a. Gizmo Zord, but you can call me Gizmo. And on this week's episode, Li Ming gets the anticipated banhammer. We have more info on the Heroes Charity Brawl coming up this weekend, and we discuss the current state of the game. Oh boy. But of course, joining me this... you know what I meant.
She's gone?
Yeah, she's gone. She's out of here. Nerf hammer, ban hammer. Yeah, that happened. But of course, joining us this evening, again, some more of the Zord Lords themselves. As usual, first up, we have Mr. Kevin Ellis, a.k.a. Multi-Zord. How's it going, Multi?
Doing pretty well. How are you doing?
Better than I'm not banned, and neither is Li Ming, so that's good.
Well, that's a step in the right direction. Yeah.
We also have joining us, as always, Mr. Ryan Reeder, aka TBK Zord. How are you doing, TBK?
Really good. I finally got my new webcam set up and got all my other stuff going, so it's good. I got a little mini ETC figure.
Oh, nice. I have him at my place. I'm not at my place right now, but
my wife got me a Valentine's Hero blind box present, and it turned out to be the exact one I wanted. So,
wow,
it's like she planned
awesome.
it.
I know.
But we also have joining us this evening another Zord Lord, the Zord Lord himself. It's Mr. Matt Zorns, aka Slambo Zord, aka Matt Zord, a.k.a. once again, the Zord Lord. It's good to have you, buddy. How you doing?
Dude, I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. That's a lot of AKAs, but I guess it's a little necessary.
Evolved over the years.
Well, your real name is the least important on the whole list. Let's face it.
I think so. In a way, you're dead right about that. But I'm excited to be here, and oh boy, I cannot wait to get going.
Yeah, I feel like for the rest of the show, since you're the Zord Lord, do we just have to refer to you as, what do you think, oh Lord?
I really don't want
oh
that.
Lord of the Zords.
Make it uncomfortable for you guys. Let's not do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. Anyways.
Thank you for being honest.
So to back up, though, this is the guy that started the Zord Lords Guild way back in the day, Vanilla WoW. So... I mean, we mentioned him in the very first
51 episodes.
Yeah, to get him on here, right? And he is also on my show about Overwatch, the Cavalry. You're on there enough now, buddy, that you're pretty much just a co-host anyway. You're not a special guest anymore.
I guess I lose that title of special, but
not special anymore. Except you are here. You're a special guest here.
No, that's right, and I do feel very special being here. I'll tell you guys a funny Zord Lord story, probably the only funny one there is, but. At one point, when we were growing up, we had that big group of gamers that were all kind of local to the high schools that were near us, and it kind of spread out from there. But there was one point where, like in the movie Old School, like I was the Godfather, where I went to pay for movie tickets, and the kid slid the tickets over, and he goes, "The Zord Lord doesn't pay here." I think it was Blizzord's little brother or something. Oh, yeah. Regardless of it, I felt like the king of the world, and I was with a friend. He was like, "What just happened?" I was like, I can't even explain right now. The Zord Lord doesn't pay. But anyway, that's ridiculous. But it's the only time it's actually benefited me to have that title.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of funny. I know we went over this a long time ago on one of the, probably in the first 10 episodes.
The first episode.
It was the first episode?
The story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so again, the Zord Lord's just a gaming group based out of Kansas City of friends back from high school and stuff. But it's grown so much to the point we have different generations of Zords. And I'm a second generation Zord because of my older brother, who you, Kevin, were friends with in high school and stuff. So I actually never really knew Slambo before we started playing Heroes and stuff. And we of course, play on Team League and stuff together now. But it's funny because he looked really familiar to me, and one day he was like, "Did you ever go to shows back in high school?"
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew it was him. He looked really familiar, and he knows George Smits and stuff, an old drumming buddy of mine. So it's connections. The Zords
really
are connected.
small world, man. Yeah, and it's like that Zord family. It keeps growing and growing. Like, 6 degrees of separation. It's like 6 degrees of Zord. It's just at some point there's some connection back to another Zord, and it really is like a really cool community of guys and gamers and gals as well. And it's just kind of funny to see how something so small in one game created something bigger. But it's just really cool.
Yeah. It's the 50 Shades of Zords.
There you go. That's
thing
actually
eventually.
a better way than mine. I think mine was kind of butchered.
Oh my.
Anyways, so what have you guys been up to in gaming this week? TBK, we'll start with you.
Lots of Heroes, of course. What else have I been doing? XCOM 2. Lots of XCOM 2 when I can. I probably am going to be setting aside Friday again for an XCOM 2 night. And Swift has been hounding me to play Attila Total War, so I'm probably going to get sucked back into the Total
War.
War
Right now, by the way, in Steam, just saying.
He is right now. No, it's good. I'm super excited. He got me. He's just like, I'm getting this for you for an early birthday present, and so bam, I have Attila. It's like, okay, I guess I have to play now.
When is your birthday anyway? I mean, I could check
April,
Facebook, but
April 29th.
Oh, I didn't realize we were so close. Mine's the 25th.
It's coming soon.
That's my sister's birthday, so that'll be easy for me to remember. So.
Oh, yeah. And what's even cooler is Creative Assembly is releasing Warhammer Total War on that day. So they knew.
I've never played any of the Total War games, so I should probably stay out of it because I already have enough games on my plate.
Just think it's like Risk, but then you can zoom into the battles and play them in like a real-time strategy type thing. So you got the overworld map, and then you can zoom in and play. So
do you actually control the battles, or is it just
yes? You can completely control the battles. You get all the units. You can flank. You can take over buildings. You can destroy terrain. It's pretty cool.
So it's like XCOM. The battles are like XCOM.
No, they're real time, not turn-based.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Anyways, Multi, what have you been up to in gaming this week?
So that game, by the way, Ryan, has the word war in it twice in the title, which is great.
It does.
Which is
Very
There's
good.
Going to
be
That's a mark
so
of a
much
good
war.
Game.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You got to double down on the war today.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I saw a game called Make War Not Love in Steam. It's like that's a great title.
Yeah.
So just war is fantastic, right?
Not really. No, not really. For me, I've been playing my standard stuff, a little bit of Hearthstone, a little bit of Overwatch, actually. My good buddy Steven's been kind enough to let me hang out over there, get some games in. And that's been a lot of fun. The changes are really cool. I don't know. Other than that, not too much, really. Trying to get some heroes in, too, of course, as always.
Excellent. As for myself, some heroes, a lot of Overwatch, and some more of the World of Warcraft alpha for Legion. I got to check out some of the Demonology Warlock yesterday, and they added in Beastmaster Hunter, the new Beastmaster Hunter, so I'm super excited to check that out.
I'm muting you right now so I don't hear this.
I
don't want to know.
It's so
don't
good.
tempt
I'm
me
telling
with
you,
your
dude,
ways.
everything, all the specs feel so different. It's insane. But yeah, that's about it. We didn't get to do much Team League this week just because of different stuff going on and the Heroes of the Dorm stuff coming up, which, of course, Shambulance is participating in. But yeah, looking forward to that. But let's go ahead and hop right on in. TBK, what do we have in the store sales this week?
So this week we have Zeratul and the Ronin Zeratul skin, as well as Glam Metal ETC.
Oh, boy.
So if you don't have the Master Skin ETC, which I contend is the only skin worth using, once you get it, then pick this one up.
You don't like the country
I
one?
love the countries. I love the country
I do
skin.
not.
I dislike that one.
It's
No,
awesome.
But I also
Master
don't like
Skin.
the glam metal one. So
No. fair enough.
Master Skin. Just get the Master Skin. Don't even bother. But
that's the
Zeratul
way to go.
is actually really good. He's a lot of fun, and especially with his new Shadow Assault build that you can do with him, it makes him feel a lot different, and it's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, and the Ronin
And that
skin's pretty
Ronin-
cool. I have that.
Yeah, I was just gonna agree with you, man. That Ronin skin. I remember when Alpha, when the day they released that, like one of the first Alpha waves, I spent $10, and I knew I was gonna get it back, but that was the only skin that I saw in like impulse purchase. Gotta buy that right now. But I played a ton of Zeratul back then, and he's changed a lot since the Alpha.
Yeah, he has. It's he's been on a roller coaster between just trying to get that Void Prism balanced out and stuff. But yeah. What do we got in the hero rotation this week? We are finally out of the hellhole last week. Actually, I guess if you're playing
Those
Li Ming, it
Vikings.
was fine. But yeah,
During
Yeah, I mean, I was-
non-nerf.
I was glad to see the Vikings for sure.
That's-
because I got them to 5, and
yeah.
that's the end of it. But
we don't have to
now
see him
after
again.
that, right, and I don't care anymore because I've got everything at least at 5. So whatever. But no, we've got an interesting list. There's Anubarak, Falstad, Karazim, Muradin, Raynor, Zagara, Tyrael at account level 5, Sonya at 7, how do you Zorns? How do you pronounce this one?
Don Cheadle,
Oh, Tarande. I still
Oh.
maintain
Hotel
Tarande.
Tyrande.
Tarande.
Tarande. You see, it's tomato,
Tyler and
folks.
Andy.
It is.
yeah, that's right.
So you guys
uh,
have your own name, okay? Yeah.
yeah. So Churned is on at account level 12, and then we have Greymane 15. So it'd be a chance for a lot of people to try out Greymane maybe the first time. See what you think. Zorns, I know you played him a ton when he first came out. Like, are you still a fan?
I still am. I still am a huge fan of Greymane. I think I force that melee build a little too much in too many games. Instead of waiting for the right opportunity to do the range build versus the melee build, I just enjoy the melee build on Greymane so much. But I still like him a lot. I still see a lot of potential for him. But what you're going to see is an influx of players who've never played him trying him out for the first time. Probably going the same melee build that I try to force, but not having any success at all. Not that I have a ton of success anyway with it, but yeah, it'll be pretty flooded with the newbie melee Greymanes.
Well,
ruining your
why
games.
wouldn't you want to be a wolf? You know, if you could choose to
Or
be
a
a
lion.
human or a wolf. Or a lion.
Right?
The
Well,
lion skin's
right.
sweet.
The circus one.
Yeah.
That is a pretty sweet skin.
I don't think I've seen it in game yet. Do
Oh,
you
I
have it?
use it all the time. Yeah, I
Okay.
instantly
We gotta
picked it
play
up.
sometime.
But you know, ever since we did the Rafflecopter episode with that build, I love the range build just because the level 20 talent where your basic attack sprays is insane late game.
Yeah.
It's so fun. But this is a really good lineup. A lot of top tier heroes right now: Zagara, Raynor, Muradin, Karazim. Falstad's been making his way back up. Tyrande, Greymane, Sonya took a little bit of a hit.
Anubarak.
Yeah, who even got a little bit of.
Anubarak.
Tiny
I'm
buff.
stoked for that buff.
And-
We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Did you see the
You'll
map
see on
for it?
Team League, Gizmo. I'll show you.
It's like a grand total of like 50 or 60 extra health at level 20
Yeah.
for the shield. It's very disappointing.
Well, obviously, Blizzard is listening to this podcast. It's for
Yes.
sure
Clearly.
now because we
course.
We
talked
said
about
he needed
Anubarak.
something, right?
They gave him a little
we
buff.
said he needed something.
We wanted
They're a
the
couple
Lost
weeks
Vikings.
behind.
We got the Lost Vikings buff.
Yep. Yep.
I don't think we can't take credit for Li
Vikings.
Ming, but you know, it's whatever. Let's go ahead and hop into the meat of the show. TBK, we got a lot of stuff going on in the tournament scene right now. What do we got going?
Oh, very much so. The most important thing being Heroes of the Dorm registration closes tomorrow, February 18th. So if you do not have your team registered, you better do it quick, or else you won't be able to, because the online qualifiers start February 20th and run through March 6th. Once those are over, the top 64 teams from the online qualifier will advance to a single elimination bracket, online only again, March 19th through April 3rd, and then the Heroic Four will be April 9th and 10th at an undisclosed in-person location, but of course you will also be able to watch online. So that's always fun. In our ESL Heroes of the Storm Spring Regional, we have all the qualifiers finished. They're done. We have our top 8 teams that will be in LA for, I believe it's February 27th and 28th. They'll be doing it from the ESL studios in Burbank, so there won't be an audience, which is kind of sad, but what can you do, right?
They
You'll
got
be
a
able
lot
to
of
watch
stuff going on.
Yeah, you'll be able to watch it. You'll be able to tweet in. The teams will be competing for a $100,000 prize pool, which is pretty awesome. Your top teams are Bob Ross Fan Club, Cloud9, Cognitive Gaming, Tempo Storm, Team Blaze, Panda Global, Kings of Blade, Alpha, and Team Nam, relative newbie to the scene, actually. So that should be really, really cool to watch. And at the same time, if you watch it, and link your Twitch account to your Battle.net account, you will actually get a cool portrait. Heroes of the Storm portrait as well.
Really, I didn't get the Heroes of the Dorm portrait last year, so I'll have to make sure to get that
Oh,
one
no.
and this one. Yeah, I didn't get the Asthma Dunk.
Yes, it's green. It's got like little leaves around it, and it says 2016 on it. So be sure to link your accounts, because I mean, who doesn't want more portraits, right?
They're very collectible.
They're very, very collectible.
I enjoy.
I can't believe,
them.
Greg, you missed the Asthma Dunk.
Yeah,
portrait.
I know. I kept.
Oh.
That's a tough one to miss.
I'm a
Yeah.
procrastinator, and I was like, I'll just do that, in 10 minutes, and then I never did. I just kept saying that every
That's
10
sad.
minutes, literally every 10 minutes for like 2 months.
You had an alarm set on your
Yeah.
phone. It's been 10 minutes.
Snooze.
I gotta say that. I gotta say.
But most importantly, what do we have coming up, TBK?
Most importantly, this Saturday at noon Mountain Time, which will be 1 Central Time, we are joining forces with Into the Nexus, Stormcast, and Core Heroes to bring everyone the Heroes Charity Brawl event. This is going to be a 3-hour-long event where podcast hosts from your favorite shows will team up, play a bunch of awesome show match type games, including Reverse Draft, Sexy Picard, which is also referred to as ARAM, because the purple character looks kind of like Picard.
Yeah.
It took me a
Beanie.
long time to figure that out.
I know.
I love it now.
A lot of people are referring to it as that, and I was like, okay, I can kind of see that. We're also going to have some really cool ones: a speed match, speed run on Haunted Mines, a coin collection mini game on Blackheart's Bay, and a really cool thing where the top donator will get to come on and play with some of the hosts, and in a big World of Warcraft style team versus the raid bosses.
Yeah,
So
I
that'll
believe
be
it's
pretty cool.
it'll be Cho'Gall, Kael'thas, Arthas, and
Is it
Illidan.
Illidan.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
Yes.
awesome.
So-
just
That's
big
worth
raid
it
bosses.
just right there.
Oh man, it's going to be so awesome. So all that's going to happen this Saturday, February 20th, and then at the end of the time, towards the end, last 30 minutes or so, last 20 minutes, we're going to have a really cool roundtable style thing where we'll get to talk to all the hosts, and Scott Johnson is graciously provided the airtime in place of the Experience Points show. So it will be streamed on twitch.tv/frogpants under Scott. So if you want more information, go to heroescharitybrawl.com, and we hope to see you guys there.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm really looking forward to it. Mick and I
gonna
talked
be so
about
fun.
it last night on Convert to Raid a little bit. Just how excited I am, especially. I mean, not just for the games. The games are gonna be a blast, but just getting down for this roundtable and discussing things out because. I've mentioned before, one of the great things about the Heroes of the Storm podcast community is not only is everyone awesome and willing to help each other, but a majority of the people that listen to one Heroes podcast at least listen to a couple because every person and personality brings something different, and there's so many different opinions on strategy and heroes, how to play heroes and whatnot, that maybe a listener, something won't click for someone hearing it from one host, but they'll hear something from another, and all of a sudden a hero will click for them, and I don't know. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, like all the podcasts, it's just such a great community. All the podcasts are very supportive of each other. And I completely forgot to mention, I mean, one of the most important parts, we're raising money for charity.
Right.
We're
Oh, yeah,
raising money
that's
for
important, right?
Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is an absolutely awesome charity. And the heroescharitybrawl.com link will actually send you to the GoFundMe page. We already have $380 of our $1,000 goal
That's awesome.
as of
Pretty
right
serious.
now, before the thing even starts. So that's just incredible, guys. Thank you so much, those of you who already donated, and we hope to see a lot of you on Saturday.
Yep, and I know this could be, depending on how successful it is at raising money and whatnot, this could be something that happens fairly often. And
That'd be
then
great.
the one other thing, if you're not able to make it, the last portion, that roundtable, from what Mick has said, will be available on all of the show's feeds. So
nice.
that'll be a little mini
smart.
episode that goes up, so
Yep.
you can listen to that if you missed
So,
it.
yeah, we'll all put out.
But here's another piece of little evidence that Blizzard loves the show. We've been talking about the state of matchmaking, and which every show has, let's be honest. But Multi, what did they come out with recently?
Well,
Letting us know.
we'd been planning on doing just this episode around like
Yeah.
the state of the game, kind of where we're at with everything. And yep, then today they dropped this little article about just the current state of matchmaking. And there's a lot to it. I mean, they run through various like changes. Really, it's all talking about how the game has progressed in terms of matchmaking since BlizzCon. Ways in which they've made it to where newer players aren't matched against veterans quite as much, and a bunch of the new team composition rules they've put in. And it's worth a read. Definitely a lot of it's kind of history at this point, and a lot of it we've kind of gone over on this show, frankly. One really interesting thing there, I mean, throughout the whole article, right, they're constantly stressing over and over that we're constantly improving on this. What we've done so far is just the first few steps, and there's a lot more to go. We're constantly working on it. Like, I swear they put that in every other paragraph, I think, which is fine.
Yep.
It's a,
I'm going to
it's a
say you
message.
think they don't have to because people need to be reminded of that sometimes.
No,
I
they
think.
definitely do.
gosh.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Probably for
tweets.
good cause.
Oh,
yeah.
The tweets Dustin Browder gets with all this stuff of like people complaining about MMR versus whatever. I know this is an answer to that for sure. But one interesting thing they were talking about in the future, there are certain distinctive heroes that cause some problems when they're matched up together. And they are going to put in a new rule for quick match fairly soon, where they're going to prevent more than one of these heroes from being placed on the same team. And the list is Abathur, Cho'Gall, Lieutenant Morales, Murky, Nova, and the Lost Vikings. So all of which makes sense. I mean, when you just think through that list and so many, like how bad would it feel to have, Cho'Gall and Abathur on a team if you weren't planning for it and don't have like your comp set up and all that. Although I am kind of upset to see Cho'Gall not be matched up with Lieutenant Morales because I think that is pretty solid. But things like Morales and Murky, and I mean, there's just so many combinations of those that I just listed off that are just so bad that I have to agree with this decision.
Yeah, and I mean, when I first looked at the list, it caught me off guard because there's some, things that can work out, but as you
Right.
said, not when you're solo queuing or whatever and not prepared for this comp. If you just get thrown into it,
Yeah.
it's going to be a mess.
And this of course doesn't affect pre-mades.
Yeah.
So you
Right,
can
of
still
course.
feel free, and the pre-made, none of these rules will actually apply to you. You could still get a duo queue Abathur Cho'Gall or Cho'Gall Morales, or I guess that would be a triple queue at that point since it's Cho'Gall, but you could still get that. But if it's all solo people, you won't get the combos of these particular
It
ones.
just won't randomly happen,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Which still has an impact because, like, if you're dead set on playing Cho'Gall with your buddy, in my mind, Morales is one of the best heroes to heal him. And without Morales, I mean, if you queue as those two after this goes in, you're guaranteed to not have her. So
I think Rhaegar
Okay.
is like the best healer for him now
Okay,
with
yeah.
that shield.
He is, yeah. He's
even
become,
after the little nerf,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that still
the
doesn't change
actual
his thing.
shield portion of the talent did not get nerfed.
that's true.
Right.
Just the
Nothing. Yeah.
damage.
None of the healing parts of Rhaegar got touched. It just was that damage output from the lightning shield. So yeah, he's still a strong healer for Cho'Gall.
Yeah. And I know we really need to start practicing some Cho'Gall. I know Blue and I have. We're gonna bring it in the team league.
Cho'Gall's in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, he is.
Especially
I have no objections. I've seen it at a high level against, and I'm just like, there's not an answer for it sometimes. Yeah,
he's starting to show
on
up.
the right team.
Well, we have seen for the 4th week in a row now another balance update happening this morning, and it's pretty crazy. I know when they said that they were going to start doing these more frequently, I don't think anyone expected 4 weeks in a row.
No.
Which is funny because
Very happy about it.
before people were crying about there not being enough balance updates, and now that it's happening, not everyone, but there are some people crying there are too many balance updates. It's like, come on, internet, Twitter, Reddit.
You want to make the internet happy? You want everyone to be happy on the internet? It's never going to happen.
Get over it.
Yeah.
But we expected this, as we said last week. Li Ming got a little some changes, and some people are upset about them. I'm not. I think they were needed. I think even the people that are upset deep down inside know this was needed. And the good thing is,
not upset.
The good thing is this doesn't really affect the build we went over last week. So
except one talent. But,
yeah,
you know,
a little bit, but I don't know. It's still
It still doesn't invalidate the build for sure.
no, that's for sure.
yeah. Another thing with these changes, they're coming so often now that allows them to do smaller tweaks instead of something that can absolutely wreck a hero, minus Nova, arguably. But let's go over the Li Ming changes. So the Astral Presence talent, the mana regeneration, now only triggers while below 25% instead of 50%. Diamond Skin, which was in our build, the shield amount decreased from 25% to 20%. And Tower Shah, which we also took, the ability power decreased from 20 to 10, which that one hurts a little bit. But
Probably one of the biggest ones.
yeah, and it's still not a huge deal, I don't think. It
definitely, I think, opens up the other the level 20 ultimate talents actually being really good. Because, say, the Disintegrate upgrade for your level 20 slows people by 60% while you're in the beam. That is really, really good. But the 20% ability power bonus was just even better. So now I think this will really open up a little more of a, okay, situationally, what's better?
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Multi.
I was going to say, I think the biggest change, though, is definitely that flat removal of the S of Johann, because, I mean, they decided the fact that it made hitting the other abilities too easy. And, I mean, it was like a little hidden form of CC that she could pull off, too. So, looking at that tier, that was level 4, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know exactly what we'd recommend as a filler, but one that is really cool is that Triumvirate, which they changed a little bit, too. If an arcane orb hits an enemy hero after traveling at least... Now it's 65% of its base range. The cooldown was reduced by 6 seconds. And it used to be 80, so they kind of buffed that to make up for it a little bit. And, I mean, reducing it by 6 seconds means that next one is up in 4 seconds or less if you're killing people with the passive, obviously. And man, it's not the greatest in certain situations, but I have taken it on maps where, like, everyone's out in the jungle trying to get a contested point, like Blackheart's Bay, the chests and also the turn-in. You can just stay at range and just lob these at teams and just...
It's extremely strong poke.
Like you were saying. Now the range, that you need to hit is even less, so it's easier to land these.
And it has to be the initial hit, correct?
Yes,
on a hero?
yes it does. And other things can block it, like Zagara can put down her little roachlings, and you can have, like, there's stuff that can block it even in those scenarios, but man... Cursed Hollow, for instance. You're out in the jungle fighting over the point. There's no better way to do it, I don't think.
And this is a nice change, and I think this might be the talent people start picking. But it kind of nerfs her in another way, because this is going to be easier to land, so you're going to be able to cast it more, and it costs a lot of mana. So I think it's kind of a mana control for her as well. She's going to be running out more. Since Astral Presence got that nerf and stuff. But one of the points I wanted to bring up, the S of Johann being removed, and TBK, you were talking about the Storm talent that makes the, oh my gosh, what's it called? Disintegration beam slow. I think that's really viable now because you don't have that group thing.
Yeah.
So another form of CC, that slow is going to be clutch for some
Oh
combos
yeah,
and
for
stuff.
sure.
And with how
And
short of a
that's
cooldown that's
huge
on.
line
Yeah.
too. I mean, that
Yeah.
disintegrate beam is gigantic, and you can turn it super fast. So slow a person, they're dead. Quick, switch it to the next person, they're dead.
So that's I'm excited to see what comes of her now. I haven't had a chance to play her since these changes came in today, but I know we gotta get some practice in before tomorrow, hopefully. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, her missiles too.
Yes,
did
we
miss
skipped
that
that.
one.
The damage was just reduced from 147, 3.5% per level to 3% per level. So not
So
huge.
just the scaling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little
it's a
bit
little
less
scaling.
scaling.
And again, those are going to be harder to land now because you don't have that combo with the S of Johan.
Her skill ceiling was definitely upped just from the removal
Yes.
of S of Johan, which I think, and I honestly, just looking at these changes, I think this is what she should have been at release anyways. Like
Probably.
this feels like the hero they wanted out in the first place, where they were saying high risk, high reward, high skill cap. This now feels like that hero they wanted originally out.
Yeah.
But that one talent was just pulling it back to fairly low skill ceiling.
It was just pulling it in, like all the creeps that it hit.
Well,
Stuff. Yeah.
and another thing about the S of Johan, that really kind of made it where you didn't need to take Force Wave at all as well. So we may see that taken more now, which is also always good to see some viability between both of those ults. We had some other changes. Multi, what did we see happening to Rhaegar? Again.
Rhaegar's, we kind of hinted at it briefly already, but the Lightning
Spoiler
Shield.
alert.
Yeah, right. The Lightning Shield, Rising Storm talent, has a damage bonus reduction. It used to be 20%, now it's 10% per stack. But the maximum stacks have increased from 10 to 20. So, I mean, I don't play a ton of Rhaegar, and this wasn't exactly the change we were looking for in terms of, I mean, obviously, we already said it doesn't affect the shield. It's still on a fairly short cooldown, so I don't know. Did any of you guys get a chance to try him out today? Ryan, I know
it's
you're a big
good.
Rhaegar guy.
Yeah, it's good because the damage ramp up is not near as fast. So to actually hit that 20 sacks, you have to be right on top of the person or the team or whoever while the lightning shield's going on. So it's definitely less of a damage ramp up, which can also help healing through it more. Because, I mean, his big deal right now is you didn't take any healing talents because partially they buffed his base chain heal to like previously talented chain heal spec almost, and so and the lightning shield stuff was so good you just went straight lightning shield. Now with some damage reduction, it may throw some other talents back into the mix a little bit more. I still think we might see him get one or two more small tweaks downward depending on what next weekend, because next weekend is the LA qualifiers for the big worldwide spring championship. So I feel like we're still going to get some small tweaks for him, but he's definitely getting much closer to a good spot. But I love the rework in general. I think they really just nailed it.
Yeah, he feels great now.
He feels
Everything
great.
they've done has been like right on point with him. I think he was considered such a low tier healer, even from everything from like the lowest tiers to the highest tiers. There was just no incentive to play him. That boost they did a couple weeks ago was, we all agree, we all know, a little too much, a little too intense. And you'd look at the scoreboard and you're like, why is this Rhaegar the top of everything right now?
Yep.
And then I do agree with this, but I don't think you're going to see much of a change in win percentage from it. I think it's just going to slow him down a little bit on the damage meter, but he's still going to have the same efficiency that he had before, so not much of a difference.
Yeah. And this is the second week in a row he's gotten some tweaks
that's
because, when he got that rework, he went up like 13.8% or something.
It was insane.
It was a strange number to look at on Hotslog, something we don't see that much of a jump.
No.
And it was like, that's a big red flag, Blizzard. Let's take a look at that.
So we'll keep an eye on it. Maybe we'll see some more changes next week or whatnot. But we also got some warrior changes going on, as we mentioned before. An Uberak, his hardened carapace shield amount increased from 242 to 260.
Goodness. Yay. So I got alluded to before, Reddit did the math. It's a grand total of 40 or 50 extra HP shielded at level 20.
Oh yeah.
So it's half an Abathur slap or one McGurgle.
That's
the terminology.
Hey, you never know. There could be a situation where that Abathur slap, that's what wins the game. That shield.
I honestly, it's definitely the right direction. I think his W is what needs the buff, because then you can actually have some play with, okay, I'm a somewhat squishy tank, but I've got this awesome shield, so I just need to learn to use it situationally and at the right times, to when I engage, when I'm getting attacked, that type of thing. But it still gives him some counterplay because the shield's not always up, right? And so I think this is the right direction, but it's going to need a little more help than this to bring him back to viability. Because he doesn't do really any damage either.
If you show the numbers, or you broke it down like Reddit did, you're right. It's not a ton, but I do feel like it at least helps out a little bit with his talents. And there is a talent that does increase the amount of shield you get, so that kind of multiplies with the buff, even ever so slightly. And I've always felt like he's a pretty strong character. It's really just about playstyle and the use of it. When you pop that hardened carapace, when you use the dive or the escape, the burrow, and when you use your stun, which is every time it's up. But, I don't know. I still think I hope that there's some more pushes in the right direction for him. I think that he's a good character, and he's got a good toolkit. He's
got
stun
a great
heavy.
Kit. Yeah, he's got a great kit.
You're right. Maybe this is not the push he needed, but it's starting to get there. They'll take a look at what it is, and they may do another boost to change the cooldown.
At least
change
they're
the
looking
amount.
at him, right?
Exactly right, and
That's
they're
true.
aware.
At least we know they're aware that he needs a little bit of help.
And that's
Which is
clearly
good.
because they listened to our Anubarak episode a couple
Totally.
weeks ago.
They're just like, oh my gosh, they're calling him a Nuba Rect. We need to do something, guys.
Oh dear, those names are just abusive to our
just
characters.
It's supposed to be a big
have
scary
that.
bug, guys.
He's not that frightening. Especially, I play the love bug skin, so he's got hearts on him, and it's
Oh
weird.
dear, get out.
What? But then we saw Stitches, his Devour got to change. The cooldown reduction on a kill decreased from 15 to 12 seconds. And this was a little confusing at first reading it. It is a nerf. When you got a kill with Last Bite talent, your cooldown got reduced by 15 seconds. Now it's reduced by 12. So it's a lower number, but it's a nerf. And it's just because he could cast that thing over and over again almost in the right situations, and it was pretty tough to kill him, which I agree. But yeah, that's going to do it for the changes this week. Again, we'll see if we get any next week for some more changes, but we want to take this time to thank some more patrons of our Patreon for supporting us. So it's time to play my favorite bumper of the show. You have been deemed worthy of bearing the Zord title. Welcome to the Zord Lords. That's right, the Zord Lords are growing even a little more today, and we want to take this time to thank two more Zords. We have Slade Zord and Daggone Zord.
Yeah.
Good old Daggone.
Daggone.
So thank you guys so much for supporting the show, and again, blowing our minds. We're creeping our way to our second milestone goal, so we will be there before you even know it. But now it's time for the main meat this evening. We're not doing a Hero of the Week this week. We wanted to take this episode to discuss the current state of the game and just talk about the different areas. I think the last time we did this was right before BlizzCon, so a lot has changed since then, and it's no secret that the matchmaking, while yes, it is getting better, it's still struggling, especially in the ranked play. We've had all of these things we've been told are coming, but it seems like we've been told that forever, and they're just still not here. And no one understands why, Blizzard just doesn't take some of the Heroes designers and throw them on the ban team, right? I'm kidding.
how that
That's
works,
not
yeah.
how
Yeah,
that
you
works.
can totally do that.
Totally.
do
If they work at Blizzard, right? They can figure it out.
Yeah. So we're just gonna go through step by step some of the different areas and talk about our feels on them right now. So first thing we're gonna do is quick match. And while some people say possibly this is the least important of the stuff, you could argue it's the most important because this is what most people play. This is what you can do after work. Just come home, relax. You don't have to worry about losing your rank and stuff. It's just about having fun by yourself with a couple friends and playing some heroes. So let's start with Slambo, our guest over here. What's your opinions on just the quick match right now? The MMR, you seeing some better quality matches? I think the graph that we got, the balance or current state of matchmaking, kind of showed it's doing better. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, when I looked at the charts and I actually saw the numbers and the stats, I thought it actually kind of matched what I've felt for the most part in the game. There was a period, because I've been on and off sometimes with HOTS, that the quick matchmaking was so bad, and it was pairing us with insanely, underskilled teammates and overskilled. It was just very inconsistent, and I did sense that, and it was very frustrating as a player. With all the recent updates, quick match currently, at least in the last 3 or 4 months, has felt a lot more consistent. The matches do feel fair, but a lot of people have the same attitude that I do sometimes with quick matches, that I'm trying out new things. I'm playing a hero I'm not supposed to. I'm getting a quest done. So I still bump into that, even though it's a more fair match. You do get a little bit of a different attitude from the average player base around you, and you can have games just slightly not ruined, but just it makes them more challenging or more frustrating for a quick match game. But that's something that we can all work through. We can all deal with. It's not the end of the world, but I do notice that quite a bit right now in quick match.
Yeah, and the graph, I don't think we mentioned it, but they said before the changes, the uneven games, or the even percent of games you were getting, was 66%. So two out of every 3. And after the changes, they're saying the even games are 97%. And that means a team had a 45 to 55% chance to win the game. And that's a huge change. And I do agree with it, and especially after the rules they've made to where with the supports and the warriors and stuff, you may, but very rarely get matched up against a team that has a tank when you have none, or support when you have none, which can still be kind of rough, but those can be winnable. But yeah, I agree. Overall, they've been good, fun, less frustrating. As you mentioned, there's still, some of those games like Free Viking Week where people are getting in and playing those Vikings to get them to 5, but
all in the same lane too, obviously, because why wouldn't you?
I would
think
rather.
we all have a little bit of Vikings PTSD right now from last week. Is that fair to say for everybody? Okay.
Yeah.
I think so.
I just hid, got in my bunker.
And you just
Everybody
AI
stormed out.
and did your
AI,
taxes.
Yep.
Took the week
Yeah.
off.
TBK Multi, do you guys have any opinions on the quick match right now?
I will say it does feel a little bad when you are matched up in a team that has no support still. And I mean, yes, you're matched up against another team that doesn't, so that's even. But I don't know. I get so used to having someone throwing up an absorption shield or heal or something that I play like I have a support sometimes, even when I don't, and that doesn't always work out quite so well. So I mean, I don't disagree with that change, but I think there's still that problem where there's just not a ton of people playing support in quick match, because I mean, if I'm queuing up as Li Ming or something, there are a lot of times still where I'm not seeing the support.
Yeah, and that's another thing, because with Tassadar and Tyrande, I'm fine solo healing on Tyrande now. I don't mind it. And Tassadar to, some extent, because his shields are stronger, but I don't like queuing up as Tassadar in quick match. Just
Same
because
thing
I don't,
as before.
that's not
You're
my
not going to get a
favorite.
second support.
Yeah, and that's
Not
not my
unless- not
favorite
unless
way
I'm
to
with a
play
team.
him, is full support. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but I still have plenty of other opportunities to play him. Let's talk about Hero League and Team League, though, the ranked play. This is where people are still seeing problems. We're still waiting on bans to come in for the draft, which is...
Still.
Where are
Still.
they?
Yeah, it's
Still.
needed. But at the same time, I'm not really worried about it right now with the other problems that are in with the ranked play as far as rankings. Who the heck knows how points are awarded and why?
Nobody. Blizzard only knows.
So I don't remember if I've mentioned this, but I'm going to, because Slambo's here this week, and as I said before, he's on my team for Team League. We played, I think all of us played at least 15, 16 games
Easily
together.
16, right.
I think I played 18 of mine. And by the end, we had people, I think Shambulance was ranked 7 or 8. What did you get placed at?
I think I was at 5. Sham was at 7.
Blue was at like 8 or 9.
9.
And
yep,
then I was at 13, and
13
Zoid was at
something.
23 or something.
23.
It's crazy.
And
And
Zoid,
we all played
such a
all the
crazy
games.
spread.
yeah, Zoid
Yeah,
had a better
that's
record
insane.
than Shambulance did. And
did.
then, we're going up. We're to the point now where most of our matches are fairly even. Actually, not really, because there's not enough people playing Team League, which is another problem.
True. Yep.
But we'll go up against, if we beat a team that is on average 300 to 400 MMR higher than us, it's like the higher ranks get 330 points, and
Yeah.
Zoid and I get 30 to 40.
It
And-
was so confusing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, 330, sweet. I just got 2 ranks. And they're like, what the hell? I got 60 points?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I feel like the team league ranking pulls from your hero league MMR in some ways, because most of us, and I know you guys didn't play hardly any team league before you started playing together. I
Yeah.
mean, you were in placement matches, for goodness sake, and you played 16 or 17. So if you played 3/4 or more of your placement matches and it didn't use nothing else withstanding, didn't use any other numbers or anything, you should have all gotten placed at roughly the same thing, give or take 1 to maybe 3 ranks.
Well,
exactly my thought.
Yeah, it wasn't
Right.
like that.
the problem is they completely changed how Team League worked whenever they got rid of the teams and just said if you're queuing up as 5, it's Team League. They didn't change the reset your MMR. So if you played in that old system or whatever and had a bad MMR, then going into this new system, even if you're playing with the same team and doing well, if you had played previous games, your MMR is hurting. Because my Hero League and Team League MMR are definitely drastically different. But it's unfortunate, and I feel people are wanting an MMR wipe anyways, which I don't have a problem with until we actually get into the season. But it's kind of frustrating and still mind-boggling just seeing how those points work and trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
Well,
because
not only
everything
that-
you just said. Oh, sorry. It still just doesn't answer why the higher ranked people would get so many more points than the lower ones. You'd think
Yeah.
that it would just try to equalize you a little bit,
Exactly.
and maybe after like 100 games, you guys would all be the exact same number. But it's not looking like that would even happen over time.
No.
Yeah, and I mean that brings in another problem that we haven't even touched on: the season roll. Like, forget bans, forget Team League, forget Hero League. We're still in preseason. We've been in preseason since last April
Yeah.
when the
Big
game
deal on
came
that.
out.
Yeah.
That is absolute insanity.
And
we're still in
embarrassing.
preseason. It's horribly embarrassing. I mean, I love this game to death, but there are things about this game that are just mind-boggling to me as to, I mean, Dustin Browder has come out and said they have over like 125 people working on this game. And I know that's not every single person is working on every single feature, but there's got to be at least a team of ranked people or that are doing stuff around the rank thing, especially lately with how high a priority a lot of this matchmaking type stuff has been for them. It just seems to me that I don't know what the holdup is on getting the season roll done.
Well,
and
here's what I
doing
was-
some sort of an MMR wipe or reset or something.
Go ahead,
Milky.
Greg.
I hear you on that, but at the same time, do you want the season starting right now with how it is. I would rather them wait until they get the bans and stuff.
Well, and that's the other problem, right? We don't even have bans. Like we can't season roll until we have bans.
Yeah.
But we don't have bans yet. So it's just one problem compounding into another problem. And they know it. They know they can't roll the season until they've got the bans out. But again, then maybe that's why are the bans taking so long? I mean, we've talked about bans since fall of last year.
You're right on like the problem's just stacking because the season's not starting. Well, one of the reasons because the bans aren't happening because the MMR's messed up, because the way they're wanting to do bans is the highest MMR gets the ban. But how can you do that when MMR's in such a cluster right now? But at the same time, the game, I think the game launched in July, not April. I think the open beta went in April or something.
Yeah, maybe.
But at the same time,
But I still count it.
We have to think, was the game ready to go live when it launched?
Not at all.
And that is probably not the Heroes team's fault. I imagine that maybe not even coming from the Blizzard side. Maybe it was the Activision side.
Yeah, Blizzard Activision.
Because it was launched shortly after the Heroes of the Dorm, I imagine. I think.
But see, that to me doesn't make a ton of sense because Blizzard as a company has always been about when it's ready, when it's ready, when it's ready. Every single game they've done has had that mentality. I mean, we've seen that in the WoW expansions to the detriment of WoW a lot of times, that it's just the content's not ready. We're not going to put it out yet. So I feel like it's kind of a cop-out for them because why should they be the special flower that has to get pushed out when every other Blizzard game can wait until it's ready? I don't know. I just don't buy that as a legitimate excuse.
The Activision, it hasn't always been Activision Blizzard though,
Right.
and this is also their first step into the MOBA genre, which they were just using an old engine, their StarCraft engine, which probably in the long run ended up not being a good choice.
That a little later.
Yeah. So I can just understand,
that.
the pressure from the higher ups of getting it out off the tails of Heroes of the Dorm when it was just on national TV, and they want to get people excited for it and in the game, get it in people's hands while they can. But Multi, did you have anything?
Oh, well, this whole game is just their desperate attempt to try to salvage some of the damage done by letting Dota itself slip through their hands way back in the day.
Cheers to that.
But
Yep, very true.
so there's that. I was just gonna say that all right, is season 1 when it comes out really going to be that big of a deal? Like, how different is it going to be from now? When you think about it this way, I mean, yes, we have some sort of Grandmaster League and that sort of thing, but what is the first season other than maybe if you're really good, you'll get noticed by some pro teams and get in if you just really stand out? Or, I mean, if you're super high ranked, then you can brag about that and show it off a little bit, which is cool, but like, that's the case now. So why, I mean, in my mind, I don't know why they didn't just go back a couple months and just start calling it season 1. And then when season 1 finishes, season 2 would have the rollout with like all of the bans, the fixed matchmaking and all that. And people would just go along and say, season 1 was a little janky, but it was fine, whatever, and then move from there. But the fact that it's just perma preseason right now, I think is kind of a marketing snafu on their part, because there's got to be some people looking at this game versus like League of Legends, Dota 2, etc., and saying, I mean, there's a ranked mode in this, but there's not really like a ranked season roll. There's nothing for me to super push for other than just a number on my screen, and I don't know. So what do you guys think? Could they have potentially started the season months ago?
Well,
and then just dealt with it?
I think you bring up go ahead, Matt.
No, I mean, I just I think that Kevin, you're ultimately right, I guess, about the season thing. I just wanted to take a step. I'm not trying to step back too far, but what I wanted to think about what Ryan said, and he said something really important about Blizzard, is that it's not ready till it's ready, is usually the moniker that we hear. It's what we expect when we're talking about a Blizzard game. But I think that it was ready for the casual side, for the quick match, for the large population of people to step in and play it. A lot of the things we're talking about are those quality of life for Hero League, Team League, the ranked, the competitive side. So I just wanted to at least take a step back to that and say I do think that it was ready in a way. It was polished enough, but it was not ready. You're dead right for what we expect. Our expectations, looking for the esports side, the competitive side of things. Yeah. So that is important. But I guess we're going to see how they deal with it. But I don't know what the difference would be between preseason and season one as a label. But I do agree with what you're saying, that looking at that and saying preseason only right now, it just seems like the game's way too far in its lifespan to not have some kind of evolution in that category. And it will deter players, and it will deter certain esports, athletes potentially, because, yeah, it's just kind of a weird taste in my mouth thinking about it. And I really haven't thought about it too much, but hearing you guys and getting your feedback as well is kind of making me remember that it's been a long time. Where is this? Why haven't we seen it? Yeah. So I think it's a really good topic.
Well,
like
how does...
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, how does it feel to use Zorns? Because, not to toot your horn too much, but you're rank 1 Hero League and Team League, correct?
Well, yes, but I'm on the team with Gizmo, and he told you the story. There was insane MM. I felt lucky to be rank 1 right now because of our team as a whole wasn't that close.
Which is my point. Do you feel, obviously, I've played with you several times. You're really solid at the game, but do you feel a little shorted by that? Do you feel like you've really even proven your skill?
You know what? I think that's dead. That's exactly the way to say it, is that I do feel a little shorted in a way because I did it in 23 games, or 23 wins, I think. Because when we did the placement games, I had a really good record, 15-5 or 16-4 after the 20 placement games, which was really nice. But it was 3 or 4 wins after that, and I'm rank 1. You're right that it cheapened the experience a little bit, and it made me feel guilty for my teammates, because it's these guys were working hard. And if I'm being dead honest, the night that I hit rank 1, I was playing like crap. I was playing the tank role, and I just wasn't on. I was 9 deaths on Diablo, 7 deaths on Muradin, and just was off that night. And my teammates carried me. Gizmo switched to the DPS role that week because he had been doing Li Ming, and basically carried us to victory. And he's the one who's ranked 12. That, you're right. It does cheapen it, and it didn't feel fair to me or to my teammates. And that does matter. When you're playing in Team League with 5 organized people, you want everyone to feel as rewarded as you do. So I think I don't feel like I've earned that rank 1 in Team League. Hero League, I earned that solo queue number. So
you guys bring up some really, really good points. And to your point, Kevin, I feel like Blizzard is almost saving everything, and they're going to do some sort of a massive dump once, and they're not rolling things out one at a time, other than the matchmaking, because they have to, because it was in such a horrid state. But I feel like there's too many developers and too much going on, and too much time has passed, that I feel like they're bundling this absolutely gigantic bans, Team League, MMR, what else was coming? The Grandmaster, Season 1. I feel like they're bundling this all together, and they're holding these features back until everything's ready so that they can throw it all out and say, okay, here's Season 1, which, when they do it, that'll be really awesome, but they're losing people, they're losing stuff right now. Like you guys were saying, Team League is barren. You can have 10-minute queues easily in Team League.
Every game for us.
Yeah,
because
every game.
Stuff. Yeah.
And to your point too, Gizmo, and I'll let you let me know what you think of this, but when the game came out, Matt, you were saying it was ready for casual, right? And so I feel like when Blizzard came out with the game, they did not meet expectations because of the other stuff in the market. Because you have to think, you can't be judged based on what you just have and say, okay, this game's got these features. You're competing against other games in a marketplace. You're competing against League. You're competing against Dota. And these games have these features. They've been out longer, sure, but now the expectation has been raised for these other new games that come out. Because if you don't hit this feature level automatically, then, what are you going to do? It's just like WoW. WoW has really upped the ante for any new MMO that wants to come out, feature-wise and content-wise. It sucks for all these new MMOs because WoW's been out for so long, but the expectation is there, and if you don't hit at least somewhat of that, then you're gonna get hurt by it. And I think Heroes has definitely been affected by that mindset because these people coming from League and Dota are expecting things that just aren't there.
That's really good point, and it almost makes me wonder. Maybe Blizzard didn't have those expectations for this game when they launched it. It's really interesting because on CTR last night we talked about the quarterly earnings calls came in, and we went over those, and every game was represented in there except for Heroes. There was nothing on Heroes, which, maybe who knows, maybe their numbers aren't doing as well as they want to right now, so they don't want to say anything until they get it fixed, or maybe they just didn't do it because they weren't expecting to try and take something from Dota or League. They just wanted it to be more casual for some more team play for their fans of Blizzard games. Maybe that's who they were focusing on. And then all of a sudden it blew up and they weren't ready for it. And their casual players became hardcore players and want
regardless,
that ranking
the
system.
expectations were forced upon them.
Yeah.
Regardless of what their expectations were.
Which, sucks for them, but at the same time, if that was the case, which again, who knows if it was or not, good on them for making an awesome MOBA, but now you got to step it up and you got to, get more resources if you guys need them. You got the money. So I think, again, before BlizzCon, we said, BlizzCon was kind of a make or break moment for this game, and they did some things that, they put a Band-Aid on it, and it was okay for a while. But I fear if this goes on too much longer, they're going to be at that point again, where they're either going to need another Band-Aid or hopefully an actual fix and get this game where it needs to be. Now, with that said, I want to talk about your guys' expectations right now for queuing into Hero League and Team League, because as we said, there's not really a reason to do it for pushing ranking and stuff. Yes, you can do that, but what do the ranks mean? Some people are in the MMR hell, so they can't really climb ranks right now. So why play Hero League, Rank League? What's the point right now? For me, I enjoy in Hero League just the draft system, even though there's no bans. I like playing around the comps. I don't go in with the mindset of I'm trying to get to rank 1 right now. That's not happening. And then at the same time in Team League, I'm queuing in because I like playing with the group of guys I'm playing with right now. I'm not really worried about my ranking. I don't care about it. We're using this preseason, to synergize with each other, to practice, to work on our team comps and our communication, and by the time Season 1 starts, we're going to be good to go. And that is why I'm not super, super frustrated with where it's at right now, because personally, we're still getting ready for that. So what gets you guys to go into Hero League and Team League right now? Slambo, we'll start with you.
For me, actually, Hero League has kind of become my quick match, if I'm being honest. I really was pushing for that rank 1 because I was that in a previous alpha, and I just was like, I can get back there again. So first, I was doing Hero League with the expectation to get to rank 1. Once I got it, I took a much more relaxed approach to it, and now I just kind of play it with a different attitude. But either way, as soon as I went into Hero League, or as soon as I log into HOTS, I want to do Hero League just because of what you said, that draft system. That's super important to me, just to have some kind of order of things. And I like to play the flex spot, so I can remain very flexible and pick the right hero to help the team and push it. So it really isn't a high expectation. But in the MMR that I'm at least, I don't have a ton of that first pick Nova, no communication type of player as much. And when I play with some of my friends who I'm trying to get up to a higher rank, I see a lot more of that, like a lot of the stupid, silly, selfish picks that kind of ruin the composition of a team in the Hero League setting. Mm-hmm. And I've avoided that a little bit, but that still happens. But so my expectation when queuing into HL is I just want to have some fun. I do want to play a structured game, and I have to have the draft system. And then for Team League, like you said, I enjoy playing with the people that we're playing with. we are working on synergy, communication, and really positioning has been big. I've noticed for our team, just trying to understand where we're going to be and where we're going to be in fights and how we set up before the team fight. So I queue up an HL like my quick match now, and then Team League is like the night where I am like full try hard mode, focused, amped up, and ready to play.
Excellent. And multi?
When it comes to Hero League, I still feel way too limited by the 2 people queuing at max. Just because for me, the most fun I can have in this game is just hopping on, hanging out with a few people, getting some games, the listeners in particular. Also, just a bunch of our Zord buddies and that sort of thing. So, I mean, I kind of want to at least push rank 1 in Hero League, I've said before, just to say I did it preseason. And then after that, I'm with you, Zorns. I'll take a much more relaxed approach to even that one. But man, I don't know. Like, if there's 3 people on, myself included, I tend to just kind of go back to quick match because for me, the Hero League queue, and I'm at rank 8 right now, so I'm just at that cusp where, like, some of the games you get some really serious good matches where both teams are, drafting well, everyone kind of understands what to do, you're synergizing even though you haven't played together, and that's cool, but then sometimes you still get that Tyrael that's just pushing the top lane, just not really responding, that sort of thing, even at rank 8. So I've calmed down about it a little bit because I'm starting to, in my mind, liken it to the Hearthstone ladder in that it's the same kind of deal where no matter what the matchup is, sometimes the cards you get just don't work out. Sometimes you get outdrawn. Maybe their team has a much more cohesive group than you just because of the people that they queued with versus what you got. So when I started to adopt that, I started worrying a lot less about the losses. And I mean, even if I would drop down a couple ranks, it wouldn't freak me out quite as much because I knew that as long as I kept working on my game, I would at least be where I'm supposed to be and hopefully allow that to push up even more. So it's been okay. Typically, I don't know. I still tend to queue for Hero League by myself. I think it would be better with another person, but I also feel like that other person has to be someone you pretty much know and synergize with a little bit. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I think that they have to be pretty close to you in rank, if not maybe even a little higher, just because you don't, even if you know the player's good, at 8, you don't really want to be queuing with someone at 20 just because it brings in such a huge range of stuff that you're going to hit. And you know what I mean? So, and Team League, I just frankly haven't done enough yet. Maybe I should start a Lords of the Storm JV team. Get another one going here.
JV, don't say it like that.
No.
No, I suppose I shouldn't.
That's a good point. There's a lot of people interested in doing Team League now, which that's the number one thing Team League needs right now is more teams.
Right.
Which they took the right step in doing away with their like actual specific teams that you had to play and buy, which I think I never got that money back. I don't think. Dang it, that gold. But it is barren right now. So
you know what we should do?
Find communities in our Discord, especially. There's a lot of people wanting to get team leagues together. Find times that work and just get in there, have fun, and work on those team comp stuff till it launches. But where we
I was going to say about our Discord, maybe we should open up a channel that's for people looking for team league games.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So that you can at least post up something. Hey, I'm free Wednesday nights. What's up? Although obviously no one's free Wednesday nights. They're all watching our live show.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
I'll for sure get that in tonight.
Cool.
TBK, how about you? What do you go into Hero League or Team League for right now?
So, I'm a lot more with multi on this. I adult a lot. I have to adult a lot. And I'm going to be adulting even more because I have a kid coming soon. So
real soon.
Yes. Yeah, real soon. And so a lot of times when I hop onto Heroes, I'm looking to play with other people because Heroes is my multiplayer game. It's the game I want to play with other people. And as Multi was saying, Hero League-wise, you're limited right now to one other person. And then Team League, you need 5. And so a lot of the times it'll end up I'll cop on and there'll be a few people on. And so I'm like, let's play some quick match. Let's knock out some daily quests. Let's do that. I've never really enjoyed honestly the solo Hero League experience. Even though I'm around the same rank as Multi is, it's just never really been something that's interested me a lot. I always like duo queuing or more, depending on back when they actually allowed more people to do Hero League. So if there's somebody on that I know I play with, I know we're about the same skill level, I'll totally hop into Hero League with them and do stuff. But excuse me, I don't know. Team League. I've just kind of taken a step back from, and I like to fill in whenever people need it. But I know that I don't have the time to commit to a team that plays at certain times every week. So that's kind of been something that's just one of those. It'd be really fun to do, but I know I don't have the time to do it. I plan, and to me right now, Hero League wise, to rank up, I'm at the point where I pretty much would need to brute force it. So like Multi's Hearthstone analogy, once you get rank 5 in Hearthstone, you stop getting any bonuses, and you basically have to brute force games to Legend. And so I think and Multi might be at the same point as I am. I'm at the point where I would need to brute force, where I would have to have a nice chunk of time that I could just put in and just knock it out to 1 in just brute force. And it just hasn't, I have no motivation to do that. It hasn't been a super high priority to me, because a lot of times I have a lot more fun jumping into heroes and playing with people that I know, putting comps together for quick match. And a lot of times if I want to get my fix for the draft, because I do like the drafting's awesome. But a lot of times I'll turn to customs for the drafting, or sometimes, and I've been doing this a lot more lately, I've been casting a lot of those, and I kind of get my almost get my draft fix from that, watching these more I don't necessarily say pro, but more structured games being played. And so that's kind of my overall feeling.
Good save there. No,
I cast an amateur league.
Yeah.
So.
No, those are all really good points and stuff. And we spent a little bit more time on the ranked play, but it was worth it because it's good discussion. But let's go ahead and move on to heroes in balance, where we're at with the game right now. So, man, I keep forgetting when this game launched. I think it was July.
Summer, for sure.
Yeah. So the game's been out for not over a year now. Was it last July? I've been in this game, like the alpha and stuff went on so long. I don't even know. But the game's been out for a while now, and
June 2nd.
We have.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just Googled it. Here we go.
We have the
June
high
2nd,
heroes in the high 40s. So a decent sized hero pool, and we're still getting them. They're hitting that 3 to 4 week mark, like they've been saying ever since they said that. I think besides Greyman, I think that was 5 weeks because of the holidays. And we're now seeing, as we had the past 4 weeks, those balance changes coming. Where do you guys think we're sitting on that? And what would you like to see changed, or do you think they're headed in the right direction, Slamba?
I really think we're going in the right direction. I feel like the new heroes that are coming in are a little better than some of the heroes that were coming out for a while there. I felt like there was a lot of broken heroes or inconsistent heroes. And some of these heroes have come in lately, last few ones, the Greymane, Li Ming, Lunar with the changes, have been a little more effective, I think, than their other releases. And what they did is they answered that need for more assassins at the top, because for a while there it was Kael'thas and Raynor, and that's all we had. Or, I think Vala can be in that conversation as well. But I feel like they've done a really good job, and it's in a very good place compared to where it was. And for me as a player, there's a ton of different characters that fit a lot of diversity in the game, different role, different kit, different purpose that I enjoy playing. And there's certain characters that I've had bad experiences playing against, and I've noticed it over months and years of playing this game, and they've kind of tweaked those heroes. So for the most part, I feel like Blizzard has done a good job just in the context of balance and nerfing and current state of heroes is in a really nice place. A lot of cool diversity with the type of heroes you get to play, completely changing the experience, but a lot of efficiency at the high levels, or even at like mid or pub levels as well.
Yeah, you bring up really good points because really it was for a while. Kael'thas was a huge game changer when he came out, and then Johanna, Leoric, and maybe Karazim you kind of consider, but other than that, they were kind of so. And the I think now that they're doing those weekly balance changes, they're not as scared to release heroes that might start out a little bit overpowered because they can change it gradually fairly quickly, to whereas before, I think we got several in a row that were extremely underwhelming.
Yeah.
And whether that was, some of those were because people just had to find their niche, like the medic came out. People trashed her hard. And then once you found, she got that health buff, which helped certainly.
Absolutely.
But, once people learned her positioning and how to play her, just because she was so different, she worked her way up. But now we're getting these smaller changes. So I think these releases we're going to see are going to be closer to the point just because they don't want to break the game for a month before they can get in and change it.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Multi, what are your thoughts on the heroes and balance right now?
They are definitely way better at coming out with new heroes than they ever were, which is great. I think that they need to do a little bit more to retune some of the old ones, in some cases anyway. Think about ones like Brightwing, where we've had a few changes, some extra damage on her Q and that sort of thing, but you're still not seeing a ton of Brightwing because she just doesn't hold up to some of these. Now, compare that to Rhaegar, however. There's an example of a guy who, as you said earlier, Matt, was just nowhere, and then with the huge buff that they had, and even after the 2 decreases they've had since then, still really strong. So I think Rhaegar was an example of them doing this naturally, and I just look forward to more of it because there's a lot of these heroes that we're just dying to see some of these new changes on. I know we're waiting on, there's big overhauls coming for Gazlowe and Tychus, and frankly, those are 2 heroes we haven't covered on this show yet, and we're kind of holding off because we don't want to do like a Gazlowe episode and then have one of these weekly balance patches come out and be like, oh, by the way, Gazlowe's a complete different thing now, and then just have to redo it. So that may or may not be one of the reasons why we're covering this instead of a hero this week, but that's beside the point. But it'll be cool because as they do this, we're, at least on the show, going to constantly have new stuff to go over, like the reworked Rhaegar, I think's on the chopping block pretty soon here too. So that's fun. And it just always gives you something new to talk about and experience. Rhaegar in particular, I am looking about picking him up pretty soon. Is he 7,000?
7,000
right now?
for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Pretty
it's
cheap.
worth
That's a good choice.
every doubloon.
Yeah, I could pick that up. But anyway, so I like that they're so much better at the new heroes. I want them to continue to get better, and I just want them to continue to round out the back end just throughout the life of the game. And I think they've proven that they can do it.
Fair enough. And TBK?
So I think we're definitely in the best spot we've ever been for heroes and balance. The fact that they can actually do these small balance updates is huge, and I would say necessary for this type of game. You have to be able to react faster for this type of game, especially when you have so many heroes in the pool. I love the new heroes they've been coming out with lately. As if you've noticed, they're using less and less generic talents, and more they're just fully unique talents. And especially the last few, we're starting to see multiple very viable talents at varying levels as well, multiple different viable builds, which is what they need to strive for everyone. Of course, they're not going to hit that yet. They're going to, as Multi was referring to, they're going to need to remake and redo some of these old heroes that may have been done under a different design philosophy, because it's definitely evolved over time. You can see it in the heroes that they've released lately. And I think the one other thing that really helps this game out so much, even just from a balance perspective, is, and I'm going to be dipping in a little bit into our next topic, but maps. We have such a high variety of maps that not every hero necessarily has to be good on every map. but some heroes may end up being really good on a few maps, and that's okay. They don't need to balance. They have the freedom to not necessarily have to balance every hero to every map or every like talent build to every map, because that's the really cool thing about heroes. Some talent builds may be great on some maps and not good on others. Some heroes may be great on some maps and not good on others. So I mean, I think they've got that going for them, which is a really, really nice thing. And that really increases the viability of their hero pool, even in a way no other game can really do, which is awesome. And not only that, the talent system itself makes these adjustments and these balances so much easier for them, because they can change some small thing and for the most part only affect that hero. Whereas if we were in a game with items, changing one item may nerf a problem hero, but then it may throw another one out of whack because everybody's got access to it. So I think that's a really big thing. The one gripe I would say is reworks. Some of the reworks they've done have been absolutely on point. I mean, we can point to the recent Rhaegar one. It's fantastic. It's exactly what he needs to be. But there's a lot of reworks that have really changed a lot of things for the worse in some ways, or have gutted characters. I made a big impassioned rant last episode, I believe, for Nova. They reworked her. She's different, but so different that she doesn't feel like Nova anymore. She almost feels like a different character, like a Widowmaker might feel like. And so I think they really need to be careful on a lot of these reworks, that unless their goal is to change the core design of who the character is, that they need to be careful. Because they did that to Brightwing too. Brightwing got reworked, and she plays totally different than the original Brightwing did, if you were a big Brightwing player. And Rhaegar, this is his second rework. Yeah. His first rework was a massive failure because it turned him into a heal bot. They basically took everything that made him unique away from him and made him a heal bot, and they finally figured that out, and it's like, oh, we need to make him Rhaegar again. And so it's good, but I think they still have a lot of work they need to do on what makes a character and a rework. And it'll be interesting to see how Kael'thas turns out, because we do know that he's getting some talent updates quite soon. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I like your point on the talents and stuff, because these heroes have evolved a lot. The ones when the games launched and came out for a while after had a lot of those generic talents, and now is when we're seeing them go back and kind of take some of those generic talents out and replace them, which is what I think we're going to be seeing with Kael'thas and stuff. Not that he has a whole lot of generic ones, but that's really cool that they're doing to see these heroes evolve. The last question I want for heroes before we move on to the map stuff is, at what point, what hero number do you think it's time to slow down a little bit on the hero releases, because we don't want to get too many and make the game too inaccessible and for new players to come into, like it is for League or Dota right now. Like I said, right now I think we're in the upper 40s. Is that 60, 70, 80, 100? Slambo, what do you think?
I think we're pretty close, to be honest. Just to the slowdown of the schedule, not to a halt.
Yeah.
You know, we're not at the cap. I know that's what you're saying. But I would say, probably we're pretty close. I would say probably around, another 10 months, 50-ish is when they probably should slow it down. But I think that's only to be cautious and to be aware of a certain kind of player base, like you said, a new player base or someone coming in. To be totally contrary to what I just said as a Blizzard fanboy, I'm cool with it speeding up. All right, I want to see some more stuff.
I want all the characters.
I know. I just want to see a troll character. I've always played trolls in World of Warcraft. I need a Zul'jin, a Vol'jin, something, guys. Need some help. But I think we're really close to that, and I'm glad you brought that up because I've been kind of thinking that too. Like, where is it where we're going to slow down? Because there has been a steady drip of heroes since the game has released, since it's been in alpha, and I've never felt overwhelmed. But I wonder where that point is, and so I like I said, I think we're close.
Yeah, I think we're getting close too, because before, we would have one or two heroes still announced, waiting for release, and then we would get another batch. To whereas now, we didn't know about the Wizard and Zool really until after Greymane was released, right?
Right.
Because everyone was wondering.
Yep.
So now, all we have left that we know is Zool. So I think they're kind of transitioning to that to get us, off of, oh, we still know these heroes coming out. Oh, look, there's more. To, all right, this is the last hero. Maybe we'll hear about one next week. Maybe not. So I think you're right on right there. Multi?
I think when we do hear about the new heroes, they're probably going to keep that same amount of fanfare that they had for Li Ming and Zool, because I don't know about you guys, but it totally worked for me. Like, people were the little tweet would come out where it would have the silhouette and some voice and stuff, and we would just go nuts. Like, Twitter would blow up, the Discord would blow up, we'd be chatting our little Facebook chat like crazy. I liked it. I want them to do more of that for sure. But as to whether or not we are getting near a cap or to the point where we should slow down on more heroes, I'm just going to be the ultimate. I don't even know. I'm going to be that guy and say, no, don't slow down ever. Keep them coming. I like fun. New heroes are fun. Keep them coming. Never stop.
You're not allowed to slow
10
down
years.
until we have a Deckard Cain in the game.
No, not even.
Cage.
That's right.
I think we will get him this year.
Really?
I'm calling it.
Okay.
Deckard Cain,
I could see that as a BlizzCon announcement. He seems like he would be one of the big announcements.
Yes,
He might be
does.
one of those
He
meta
does.
breaking ones, like the guys that make you think differently about MOBAs in general.
Yeah, I
like
hope he's just-
he's the Cho'Gall of BlizzCon.
He needs
That's
to
what I
just
call
be overpowered, just this old,
Yes.
feeble man coming
Yeah.
in and wrecking face.
Insane spells, and I want to see
Yes.
a spell called Stay a While and Listen. That's like
Of
the
course.
longest
It's a CC.
root or stun,
10-second stun.
Or it puts you to sleep. It's like, I'm telling a story, and then like all around everyone just disease
See-
above their head, completely incapacitated.
and it puts your team to sleep as well, except for
Yes,
him.
of
He's
course.
the only character that's able to do anything.
I'm just going to ramble. Okay.
And you go take your cane and go start hitting on the core really slowly.
Oh gosh.
TVK,
We're definitely not hero designers.
TVK, how about you?
So I think the current rate at which the heroes are coming out is pretty good. I think 4 to 5 weeks is probably a pretty decent time frame, because if you think about it, that's anywhere from 10 to 12 heroes a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the grand scheme of things, that's really not adding a ton to it. So I think the current pace is probably pretty decent. I mean, heck, League of Legends did heroes every 2 weeks for a while, which was absolute insanity. I don't know how they pulled that off, but I
They've
like
slowed down quite a bit.
With lack
yeah,
of
and now they,
balance.
of
Yeah,
course
that's
they
how they
slowed
did
down,
that.
but they're at 150 or some now. It's insane. But I think the 4 to 5 weeks is pretty good, because the one thing they've done really well is every character that's come out has been very unique. And I really like that each character, and a really dedication to making each character feel like that character, especially if it's from another game, big like the Wizard, like Nazebo, like Vala. They all feel very much like their archetypes that they're based off of. So that's a really cool thing. I don't know. I think the learning curve in Heroes is kind of interesting, and it's different than, again, games that have items, because it's all talent based. So you don't necessarily have to learn every hero. You can learn the ones you want, and then you kind of figure out what the other. It's always going to be a learning process. You can pick the ones you want to play and learn them. That's good. And then the big process in all of this is learning what the other heroes do when you're fighting against them. That's going to always be the biggest learning curve. So as you introduce more heroes, of course you're going to get a higher learning curve. You just have to find your healthy balance between that. I think we're still several years from that being a huge issue, especially I mean, unless you come completely brand new to the MOBA thing. If you come from League, if you come from Dota, you're very used to the learning or knowing tons of different things. So it's going to be, especially at a 10 to 12 rate, it's going to be several years before we even near 100.
Mm-hmm.
There's 129 champions in League of Legends right now.
Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
that's crazy. I bet again, League's been out for like 6 years.
Well,
That
yeah.
still doesn't probably discourage that many new players, and there's still a huge player base in League, and
Yeah.
so maybe it's not as bad as we think it is.
Yeah.
Maybe we could tread a little deeper in.
Yeah, I don't
and
think
not
I
risk
don't
it.
think it'll be I don't think it's a huge issue. I mean, once you get close to that 100 mark, then maybe you need to look at adding some more tutorial type things for new players, or maybe, that's something that they're going to have plenty of time to plan for, of course. But maybe you introduce new mechanics to help learn things faster, or you introduce something to learn the hero types, like this is an assassin, and this is what an assassin does. This is a warrior, this is what a warrior does type thing. But I think we're still a decent ways from that being a huge issue.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's just I asked that because it's kind of hard for me to keep that in perspective because this was my first MOBA that I really came into, so I had to learn how to play a MOBA. However, since I got in super early on in alpha, there weren't that many heroes. I played all the heroes to learn them, and I continue to play every hero to at least level 5. So it's not a big deal for me. So it, I just wonder for other Blizzard people who come in who have never played a MOBA, how that is for them. So if one of you guys out there is new to a MOBA, haven't been playing heroes that long, feel free, write in and let us know kind of how that's been for you. Has it been intimidating to, every match you're going up against someone you have no idea what they're doing, or how they play. You don't know if I should stay away from this person or is it okay to jump in? So I just find that really interesting. We have a few more things we want to go over a little quicker because we are going to go a little long tonight, but it's okay. It's been good talks. Maps. So we have a good amount of maps right now. We got Haunted Mines taken out of the rotation indefinitely until it gets some changes. If it gets changes, who knows? What do you guys want to see as far as maps? I know they've kind of slowed down on releasing those. We haven't heard any teasers for new map coming out. How do you want to see it in, say, when season launches? Do you want to see a smaller pool of maybe 5 maps for an entire season? Or I know we've talked a veto system before. And again, you guys have played more MOBAs than me, even though I guess the other MOBAs really only have 1 map, so it doesn't pertain. But Slambo, what would you like to see?
I think you hit the nail on the head with just the filter system, or you get to pick a few maps to discard, a veto system.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to find out what that sweet spot number is. Like, if there's 10 maps, is it 3? Is it 4? If there's 12 maps, is it 5? Is it 4? Like, that's what I think I would like to figure out what I would want ideally. But I do think that just a veto system would be fine. I think there is a ton of maps. In fact, a couple of them have gone away out of the normal pools, and I think we could lose a couple more. But instead of just dumping these maps they spend time on, I think that I would like to just see a veto system. And then at launch, I would like to see maybe another map. I don't know, something, maybe even almost like, how they did the Towers of Doom, completely changed the game mode. And my prediction here, going bold prediction, is because of the Warcraft movie, I think around the time that hopefully that's coming out, we're going to see maybe like a Stormwind or an Orgrimmar or something really
sick.
iconic in the WoW world. And then we're going to get a sweet game mode, kind of like the Diablo event that took place a while ago. So even though that's not exactly what you're asking, I do want to see the veto system, but I want to see them bring in more maps, and I'd like to see some World of Warcraft nods with the movie coming out.
I would love to see a map where one side's Orgrimmar themed and the other side's Stormwind. That would be insane.
Right?
Oh,
That'd be
heck
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Multi, how about you?
I think that I want them to just keep coming out with maps. Again, same sort of thing. I don't want that to slow down quite a bit. I just like new content. I think that if they had a huge pool of maps, they could, like, they've talked about doing these seasons that last about 3 or 4 months or so when they start rolling. And maybe they could take, like you were saying, Zords, from a huge pool, 5, 6, cycle those in and out every couple of months, and that keeps the pro scene on their toes, keeps us on our toes. They could mix and match them in really interesting ways and make it pretty cool. So, and as for what maps I want to see, I mean, Zords, obviously, we're looking for that Overwatch package, right? The Overwatch
Where
event.
is it? Where's the Watchpoint Gibraltar map?
That's
I want to
right.
see it. Bring it on.
Obviously.
Excellent. And TBK.
I'm going to completely agree with these guys. I think I'd like to see more maps coming out. I think for the quick match side of things, I'd like to see the filter system and have quick match still be the wild Hearthstone. To borrow from another Blizzard game. It's the quick match is the Wild West. You have everything in the pool, but you have a certain amount of vetoes that you can do for maps you really don't like, and then you could still get anything. For the more structured stuff, the Team League, the Hero League, and just for the pro scene in general, I would like to see the season. So, like, we're in the spring qualifier right now for Heroes of the Storm and the pro scene. I would like to see that broken up. It sounds like they're going to have like a spring, a summer, and a fall season. So, I'm hoping that those will end up lining up kind of with the Hero League and Team League seasons as well. And then across all three of those, they have a map pool. So you know these 5 or 6 maps, the pros know, Team League, Hero League knows, these 5 or 6 maps are going to be in the pool and available for play this 3-month period. And then the next 3-month period, they're mixed up again, which will always keep things fresh, keep things going, but will really allow people during the season to really hone their strategies on these specific maps. Because as from a pro player perspective, once you get like 10 or 20 maps in there, it's so hard to practice on them, and you can't be prepared, and that just leads to less interesting games because they're not prepared for them. So I think structured wise and then kept within that, not too long, that 3 or 4 month time period between these seasons, I think that could be absolutely awesome way to keep things fresh constantly in the pro scene, in Team League, Hero League, etc. And then as far as maps go, I love the unique maps. Like Towers of Doom was awesome. I love what they did with that. I want to see more unique stuff like that.
Excellent. And so all the maps we have are objective based. That's what this game's about, objectives. What would you guys think about a standard MOBA map? No objective, just pushing. Maybe even if it's a separate game mode.
Dustin Browder actually tweeted out about this today. He said that they've tried modes like that and it just didn't work in their game.
Excellent.
So,
and I can see that because everything, the way the heroes are built and stuff is around team fights, and there's nothing to force those. So that makes sense. So features and UI, we already talked about. Obviously, we don't have the bands in. We don't have the seasons in. That stuff's coming. Who knows when? But what would you guys like to see? I know the UI, they just took out the fire around your nameplate for whenever you get on a streak and stuff. Yeah.
So sad.
And they did that because they have all the numbers and stuff now, and they felt like it was just getting too cluttered. But it doesn't feel as rewarding. I would like to see that come back, but they've made great changes with, the healing fountain timers and stuff. Is there anything that sticks out to you that you would like to see put in, either feature or UI wise, Slambo?
You can actually just light your own monitor on fire if you want that feature back.
That's okay. I actually think that might be a better solution. To be honest, I don't have a ton here probably. I'm pretty good with the state of most things, but specifically the flames are on my name. Like, I'm not going to lie when I say that's probably one of the main reasons I play this game and try not to die is to get big flames around my name. So
no question.
That's about it for me. I just want those back. With the scrolling mixed battle text that they added, it doesn't seem like it would clutter it too much, so I don't really get that. But I want my dang flames back if there's one thing.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever come close to setting my monitor on fire for Heroes, but Overwatch and Rocket League, definitely, for sure. But Multi, anything that sticks out to you you'd like to see?
Well, you do have the flames around your name in Overwatch.
That is true.
I don't know why you would need to light your monitor on fire. But, more power to you. I'm not going to stop you. Anyway, no, I don't really have many issues. We've seen the UI undergo several changes throughout the life of the game, certainly since the alpha. And every change has come in, and I've always kind of drooled a little when I loaded up the first time. So I'm cool with more of that, but I'm happy enough.
Fair enough. And TBK?
The only thing I'd like to see, and it's something they've talked about too, the mythical death recap screen, I think would be extremely useful
Yeah.
for you to figure out how you died. They showed it off, or a mock-up of it at BlizzCon. Dustin Browder's tweeted about it's coming. They're actually doing playtests with it now. Like healing done to you, the damage taken from different abilities, what killed you, that type of thing. So it's not something that's necessarily needed, but it's something that would be very useful.
Cool. And then the last thing is the pricing model. And this one I find interesting because this is something a lot of people feel like things are overpriced, and I've never felt that way. Just because I love the game, I like supporting it, and yeah. But however, recently my stance on that has changed because of the way they are doing these reworks, the way they're launching heroes, having these weekly balance changes. Heroes can change drastically now and fairly quickly. So the heroes cost so much now. For instance, I just spent however much on the Li Ming package when it came out and bought it. And I played her in try mode first, and I loved S of Johan, and I was super fun to play her. Now that's gone. She's changed. Maybe I'm terrible with her now. I can't hit those skill shots, even though this is the way she was intended to be before. That's $15-$20 I just spent that is ruined now because I can't play that hero. My MMR is going to tank if I continue to do that. So I would like to see prices come down a little bit. And also with the, more heroes coming out and stuff, it's going to be harder for people to build their hero pool. So I don't know. What do you guys think, Slam?
I think I played, over like 10, 12 years of Dota 1 and Dota 2, and I probably spent $5 on skins. And they're generally pretty cheap, to be honest with you. Like the chests and the keys, you can not spend a lot of money and you get skins and all that. And Heroes of the Storm, I probably spent $100.
I don't want to know how much I've spent.
And I have friends who take that number times 10, and that's still not even close. In certain games, that just drives me nuts. But I really usually don't spend any money. But in this game, I do get incentivized to completely pay for certain skins or buy heroes right when they come out. And I'm like, Li Ming came out and Greymane came out, and I was like, I have to buy these right now. I need to turn into a werewolf. I need to be Li Ming. Like it was weird because I don't usually buckle. So I think, at least for me, the price is good enough that I'm buckling and paying for things that I never normally would. In Hearthstone, I didn't spend $1. I had 6 legendaries, all from dust I earned myself. And in this game, I'll just spend money. So I think the pricing is fine, but it's a little intense. I think you raised the best point, Gizmo, that they release a hero. You really synergizes well with you. You're awesome at it. And then they nerf it. And you don't even want to play it because what made it attractive to you is now gone, and you just wasted that money. And that's actually freaking me out now a little bit. So now I'm probably not going to buy as much, to be honest. So that's a really good point.
Excellent. Multi, and I know you and TBK have kind of been on the feeling that the price is too high. So are you guys still there?
It's a little high for me, yeah. And on top of that, even characters that don't get nerfed, sometimes a new character will come out that I just like better, and I don't go back to... I definitely got Lunara with money, and since Li Ming has come out, I really haven't played her much because... yes, Li Ming was really strong up until today, and probably still very strong. But I like her kit so much better than Lunara's that I don't know when I'm going to really go back. I guess maybe when I hit 9 or 10 with Li Ming and then go back and retrace my steps. But so I guess you run that risk too. But
yeah.
In general, and we on the show have the extra kind of pressure to try out some of the new heroes so that we can at least pretend we know what we're talking about with them when we go over them in a couple weeks. So there's that, a little bit different from us. So yeah, it's still a little high for me.
Excellent. And then TBK.
Yeah, so I won't harp on it too much. All I'm gonna really say is they had the Thanksgiving 50% sale, and it lasted for like 2.5 months, and I felt that that was what the prices should be all the time. Honestly, that's my thought. Like when that 50% sale was going on, I in my mind I'm just like, man, I could impulse buy this. I could impulse buy this. I feel like right now the prices are not impulse buy for me for many things, and I've actually abstained from getting a lot of the recent stuff. It's expensive. It adds up. Like if you look at your tally of what you've spent, it's just like I can't. This is a free to play game. I can't be spending this much, and I've turned more to using gold now, even if I think a skin looks cool, because it's like that's $10. Like I could have eat out 2 meals for that, and so
I could feed my child.
yeah, I could feed my family. But I thought the 50% off sale was awesome, and I thought that was an amazing price. And I talked to a lot of people who felt the same way. That Heroes is definitely on the higher end of skin cost and hero cost compared to the other MOBAs. So I felt like when that 50% sale was going on, that evened it out a lot. And I don't know, I think that's, for me at least, that was definitely the sweet spot of impulse buy.
Yeah, that actually scares the living hell out of me because even though it's cheaper, I spent so much money on that sale that I think if the prices were that low, I would actually spend more, which is kind of mind-boggling to me.
Yeah,
just
and,
own everything.
and I mean that's what Blizzard wants, right? They
Yeah.
want you to spend more. I mean, at some point it's just like, okay, I gotta have self-control. But I mean,
I
yeah,
have none.
it's from a business perspective, you want that price point to be impulse buy for people who just like, that's cool, I like it, I'm getting it. Like so, right now their price points, they make me think too much, and then a lot of times I just don't do it.
This has to be a major problem for them too if they're not listing Heroes of the Storm in their quarterly earnings either. So
Yeah.
this is stuff they're looking at maybe to change.
And that's so, man. Again, sorry this went a little long, guys. I know some of you out there like our longer episodes, and this is definitely one of them. But you know, it's good to have these discussions on just the state of the game every once in a while to round things off. I know it definitely makes me think about certain things that I hadn't, and I don't know. Hope it does the same for you guys. TBK, did you have a content shout out this week? I think it might have gotten taken out in the notes if you did.
I did. I actually added it in. It's a real quick one, but for those of you who know or don't know, Dreadnought is a retired Temple Storm player. He was the captain. He does a lot of streaming, coaching, casting now, which is really cool. He put out an absolutely fantastic video breakdown of every single Heroes of the Storm map. And there's so much good stuff in here, guys. I'm going to have the Reddit thread in the show notes, but that someone even went through and transcribed a lot of it. Read this, check this out. There's so much. I was able to pick up one or two things from several of the maps that I didn't know, or is kind of common sense, but I wasn't even thinking about. So really, really good job. Watch his stream. He's probably one of the most informative streamers out there. Great guy, but yeah, check that out.
Yeah, at least read the top comment because you can get so much out of that for sure. It's a really nice breakdown of it.
Excellent. And we lost your cameras. Oh, well, I don't know why. That's going to do it for this week's episode, though. Multi, where can we be reached?
Okay, you can reach us in-game by typing /join space LOTS. We're on Twitter at Lords of the Storm, where you can also find a link to our Discord channel, which is a chat service that has voice chat and text, and it's really pretty active all the time, so very cool. And then we also have our Facebook page, facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can send us emails, lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. We have our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, where you can actually find our show live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central. And for those of you in chat right now, you already know this, but if you want to check us out, that's where to do it. And, of course, you can always leave us 5-star iTunes and positive Stitcher reviews to help the show out. But if you really want to help the show out, we've got that Lords of the Storm Patreon right now at patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where we just... It's a place for you to give to the show and help us out, but we're using all the proceeds to just make sure that this is the best show possible for you guys. So we appreciate any and all of you on there in any amount that you can. And yeah, I think that about does it.
Excellent. You can find us individually. You can find me on Twitter at GizmoZord and on Twitch at twitch.tv/GizmoZord. You can also find me every few weeks, actually the last 2 weeks, on Convert to Raid, the World of Warcraft podcast for Raiders, and on the YouTube weekly news show, Blizz Pro Weekly, covering all things Blizzard. Multi, where can they find you?
I'm on Twitter at Multizord, and I'm on The Cavalry, which is a podcast about Overwatch. You can find us on Twitter at The Cavalry Show, and I'm on that Blizz Pro Weekly we're talking about, and I've got that Hearthstone blog, hearthstone.zordnetwork.com.
TBK?
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord and on twitch.tv/TBKZord, where normally these days now I cast a lot of chair league games Mondays and Thursdays. So definitely check that out if you want some cool amateur play.
And Slambo, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at SlamboTV. Twitch is twitch.tv/Slambo. Also, check out the Twitter page at The Overcasters. That's going to be a project that I'm focusing on some Overwatch casting with a partner of mine named Indboss. And also check me, Indboss, and Multizord out at The Cavalry Show. It's part of the Zord Network, and we have a great time over there. We focus on Overwatch. We usually ruin words and laugh a little too much, probably. But we have a great time. And, definitely come check us out over at The Cavalry Show. But, yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Please tell them how you pronounce Tassadar.
Okay, well, I will. So I guess a little backstory here. I know we're running quick, but in Overwatch, they released a map called Nepal. I like to have a thick country accent and ruin stuff, so I called it Nepal as like a joke. And that reminded me of Tassadar, who I call Tassader. Gonna pick me up some Tassader, and I'm going bot lane. So it just was like this character in my head. But from there now going on, I cannot unhear Tassader. That is how I say it in my head. So that's what he wanted me to share.
Tyrander. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Skype is freaking out, telling us it's time to go.
Yeah,
and so is the clock, because holy cow. But thanks, you guys, for joining us. Make sure, again, to check out the Heroes Charity Brawl this next Saturday, February 20th, for some awesome games between us and the other Heroes of the Storm podcast. But that's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Goodbye, everyone.
All right.
I am
All
glad
right.
that the stream gets to see me riding that bronze dolphin, though.
Yeah.
That's worth it.
That's the best.
So what's
That's
happening
great.
with my...
I don't know.
camera right now?
All the video just went out for a
Yeah.
while, and then theirs came back, and yours didn't for some reason. I don't know.
Weird. Okay,
I had to
whatever.
actually turn mine back on. Did you too, Zorns?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in the middle of it, and I had
How
to
do you do
flick
it?
it back on.
Skype was just like, you need to update to premium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, turn your video on. I guess that's an option. Huh. Who knew?
But yeah,
AKA your show's going way too long, and you're
Yeah.
not paying for this.
That
Well,
was
guys,
good.
That was
thanks
good.
guys in the chat room for coming out. Don't forget to
Yeah.
join us at Heroes Brawl.
What did I do to wreck the show this week?
What
do you
didn't
mean
do?
I waited to the end to wreck
Broke
the
all
show?
the webcams.
I'm pretty sure
Dang it.
I wrecked it at the beginning of the show this week. There was a whole bunch of nonsense.
So was Pro 702 your wife trolling you, Zorns, or was
No,
that
that
an actual
that's
fan?
definitely not my wife. That's my good friend Josh from out here in Vegas. So he's a good friend of mine. He comes over and lands. We used to work together. His wife, my wife are friends. So he's just and actually he knows a lot of people out here in the Vegas gaming scene. Really good gamer. So he's just trolling.
Nice.
I wish it was my wife.
Uh,
He called me cute a lot. Is that why you guys were worried?
Yeah, that's I had to take it serious. I was like, dang.
Hey, I read something
Get
today
real.
that said if you and your friends aren't a little gay, then you're not really friends.
I'm not mad at that, actually, in a way. Yeah, that's actually kind of works out a little bit in my
Yeah.
head.
That's change of topic. Anybody got? No.
I'm just going to sit here with my eyes
Stop
really.
Hi.
My,
Pez
oh,
dispensers.
boy.
I feel like I need to go eat food or something.
Yep.
Or Pez.
And I got to get this thing up and ready to go for the YouTubes and uploaded so you can get that ready for release tomorrow.
Yep.
Thanks everyone in the chat room for coming out tonight and sticking around for the long show. Hope you guys enjoyed the discussion.
And thank you, Zorns, for joining us.
Yeah,
Oh no!
absolutely.
Thank you guys for having
Thanks,
me,
Matt,
man.
for
This was
joining
a blast. You guys got to have me on again, maybe in the future sometime if it comes up. So.
Absolutely. And we got some team league for tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm. We're still trying to find that fifth officially, but I'll work on that a
Darn
little bit.
Shambulance and his Heroes of the Dorm stuff.
Well, actually, Ryan, are you going to be on tomorrow, or you got adult tomorrow?
I don't have to adult until late.
So, like,
I don't have to adult until 10. Let me double check. I don't
I
have to
might
adult
be
until
free.
10:30.
okay, so can
Central
you
Time.
possibly show up about 7 o'clock Central Time and do some team
I
league
could.
tomorrow with us? Because
I
we need a
could.
fifth to fill.
Yep.
So
I will.
cool.
I will put that on my calendar.
Excellent. All right, guys. Chat room. We're gonna hop out of here, get things ready. Thanks again for coming out, and we'll see you guys in game and next week.
Yep. Peace. Bye, guys.